All right. Today is our kind of open discussion, real relaxed Q&A class, and we'll just kind of go down the list of people here, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions or demonstrate the best I can. Let's see. I'm just going to start with the kind of top of the list here, and we'll work our way down. But Eileen or Lonnie, you guys want to kick us off today, or?
Sure. I have I don't know if you ever met Max, Michael. He's our manager, and he's going to be able to spend more time in the office now. We actually have some extra people and enough people, and he watches over the route guys and the cleaning guys. And I was wondering if you could maybe show me what you think he should be looking at every day, or some things or numbers that he should look at to see what's going on with them.
Yeah, certainly. He's a couple of great places for quick checks. One is the route end of day, which is under route info. Let's see. And this would allow you to pick a date based on your route schedule. So if we look, and I look at maybe the 5th here, maybe at the end of the day, after all the tickets have been imported, I could look and just quickly check. Out of all the scheduled stops, he had 2 on his schedule. We don't have any route tickets, so that would be a quick thing to maybe check with that technician to see if he skipped those stops, or what happened if we need to reschedule them. That would also tally up any tasks he had due that day and how many he completed. So it's a quick way to kind of check in your drivers and see where they are just at a quick glance at the end of the day. You could obviously go to the route ticket list. You could then filter route by route and look at a given day. So maybe, whatever this date is here, you could see all tickets and just flip through each different route. Numbers that are nice, maybe the total of time on site. You would get the total if you were looking at it per route down here at the bottom when you were filtering it.
Okay. So that's the time on the jobs then, right?
Correct. That's the difference between the arrival time and departure time would be the time on site.
And this is all generated off of their phones that we're using the route tickets, right?
Correct. These route tickets are what are being done in the field.
Okay.
Switch here.
You also just made me think, Michael, has the app been released yet for the Android?
I don't think we've actually sent it to Android. I can email it to you if you want to go ahead and get that installed. There's no harm there. We're just still waiting on the last part to allow the signatures to be viewed in the service program.
If you could email that to me, that would be great.
Yeah, let me just make a little note here to myself. You want to just go to your regular email, Lonnie?
Yes.
Okay.
You could also email it to Keith Willard.
Okay, Keith, will do. Perfect. Now, is he going to be looking at any of the chemical data?
He could be.
Okay. There are a couple reports, but maybe if he's looking at history, another good report here real quick is the route schedule versus tickets. And this will show you your route schedule history versus the number of tickets submitted for each stop. If the stop was missed, we then could see the missed reason if it was recorded on the route schedule. So this is another quick way you could filter maybe all of them that have a value. So you're getting all of the blank ones. And these are I could then print this list and take it to my techs and say, hey, why were these stops missed last week? And then you could go into the route schedule, find those missed stops, and just reassign them maybe to the next date that you need to do them, maybe the following week.
Okay.
I think that would get him started. A couple quick things he could look at: that route end of day, the route schedule history, the route ticket history, and then getting into a couple of the reports. Any of these route ticket reports, especially the route tickets with readings for any date range, would give him, what was done. And here would be a good report, route tickets with all the different chemical readings.
Okay.
Let's see here. Jerry, did you have any questions for us today, or are you just listening in? I think she's got herself muted. We'll double back. Keith, do you have a question or two for me today?
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was muted.
Oh, okay.
But I'll wait till after Keith. That's fine.
Okay, I got two things off the bat. One, when I start up, I always start up QuickBooks first, and then when I start up Service Program and you go to update from QuickBooks, I keep getting something that says QODBC, evaluation expired. I don't know. It's not, and because of this, I guess, it's not updating. I put a whole bunch of stuff into QuickBooks yesterday, and it's not updating any of these emails that I put in there.
Did you just upgrade your QuickBooks within the last couple days to 2013?
No.
Okay. Have you had our software installed roughly about 30 days?
Yes.
Okay, that would do it then. That QODBC, and this is good information for anyone listening. When you install our software, we use a third-party tool called QODBC, and it's what we use to communicate with QuickBooks. It's owned by a company called FlexQuarters, and that QODBC program is incorporated with the enterprise version of QuickBooks. So it actually ships in the QuickBooks package, that enterprise version. So it is a reputable company, just for your peace of mind. And when you install our program, it doesn't let us put in a activation code for that. Now, you've already paid for it when you got the software, either on the subscription or purchase or finance. That code's included to link up to your current copy of QuickBooks. So all we have to do is remote in,
You
drop in a code,
motions and do that.
correct. Yeah, I'll give you a call. I think we already are supposed to get together after this. We'll take care of that for you. Not a problem.
The mapping, when you guys were working on that thing the other day, and we were going to talk about the mapping also, I didn't realize that, I had that 2-week trial of MapPoint and it lapsed. So then I went to look at it, and it's $300. And quite frankly, with the way things are right now, I don't know if I want to spend $300 on the MapPoint. So if it's not going to work for me. So I guess the reason that we got MapPoint is strictly just so I can set up a nice route, right?
What I would recommend, and this is what we'll do, is I try to push everyone, if I get a hold of you first, before you download MapPoint, to make sure you download the 2011 trial of MapPoint, because the 2011 version, they give you 60 days free, 2 months.
Oh, nobody told me that, so I didn't know that.
Not a problem. We can uninstall the 2013 version, and we can actually install the 2011 60-day free trial, and you'll be good for 2 months.
Oh, good. And then we can see if it really works, and then from there, then I can download the reel if I need. Okay.
If you then want to purchase the 2011 version, the nice thing, it's I think only right around $100 versus the 2013 version. So.
Oh, okay. All right, good. The GPS we hear on your messaging system that we're waiting. So now, how does that work?
We actually have, just as you get to know us, we have a lot of different apps out on the market for the service industry. One of them in particular that you're referring to is Trackster. and it's tracksterapp.com. We did develop this, and it does real-time GPS tracking of your employees in the field. It does the breadcrumb trail either at the end of the day, as well as you can go and run a report on any date range and find out where your guys were, the route that they drove. You can have them check in and check out at every job site. It records their GPS location as well as a little comment message. And we have it split
And they're
up.
going to do this through the...
Go ahead.
It all gets done through the phone?
Yeah, it's a phone app.
Okay.
What's he doing there? It's not supposed to be there. If you have employees who work outside the office and whose whereabouts are important to the company, then Trackster can be a big help. Trackster is a new and inexpensive smartphone app that can monitor where your employees are during the workday and will show you their location on a detailed Google.
If you want to listen to the rest of that little guy's speech, just go to tracksterapp.com. All the information's there, and it is a separate app, separate than the service program. But if your guys are running the mobile devices, that Trackster app can run in the background. They wouldn't have to do anything with it if you just want to track them in real time. And then they'd be using the service program app day to day to do all the different interaction with the desktop.
Okay.
And Jerry, did you want to go ahead? Did you have a question?
Yes, can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can.
Okay. My question is about the manifest. We were supposed to have chatted about this earlier in the week, but we haven't done that. So I still have those same questions regarding the manifest. Have you received the emails that I've sent you?
Yes, I have, and I apologize. We're on a little bit of a skeleton crew this week. I've got two of my other techs that help cover some of the phone lines and the chats. They're out with family stuff with the holiday, and just been a little crazy over here this week. And I did ask one of my guys to reach out to you a little earlier this week and go ahead and give you a copy of what I had finished up, just because I got tied up with some other things.
I didn't.
Okay, I'll check with him when we get done with the training and see if he maybe tried to call you or email you or what happened there, where the breakdown was. But I do have that manifest template finished, and I can't guarantee I can call you today, but I will make sure someone reaches out to you after this class and they at least get you a copy with it so you can start seeing it, and hopefully that'll answer some of those questions.
Yeah, we were trying to use the one that you have because we were trying to use the program.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at a standstill with it right now because we weren't able to print the manifest with it because we were having difficulty adding the different things to that template that we needed because it only shows a certain part of the manifest. It doesn't show the whole thing when you're trying to make changes on the template. One problem that I see is that we're not getting a unique number per manifest, which is something that I definitely need for each manifest.
Now, your manifest number is your task number. If you create a task for the manifest, that task ID is your manifest ID, or your manifest number. Each time you create a new task or a new manifest, you get a new number.
Okay, so it's not done at all through the route then. It has to be done through task only.
Well, if you do it through the routes, if you auto-generate route tickets, that right there will create a, let me flip to the right industry here. This is where we'll be loading in your manifest template. When you auto-generate a route ticket based on a certain schedule, you hit Generate Tickets. When you go to print those, you'll be selecting your manifest template, and each route ticket right here has a unique order number that'll be acting as your manifest number.
Okay, so I would either go and create a route ticket for each of the customers, or I would do a task. Is that correct?
Correct. Your two ways of setting up the scheduled services are either through a reoccurring task or through a route. Either way you do it, we have a way that you would basically need to create that service slip. And if you do it through a route, it's done through a route ticket. If you're using a reoccurring task, each task has its own unique task number. And that's honestly how I'd recommend it, just because we have the feature that this task number right here, always unique, and we have a setting that copies this task ID automatically to the PO number field. That is beneficial to you because on your QuickBooks invoice, you can change the label for PO number to say manifest number, and now you would have the QuickBooks invoice number plus the unique manifest number to relate back to this particular work order.
Okay, and we were wondering, we were looking at your manifest because we haven't been able to upload ours as of yet, but it says on there for the customer, it says service address, and we were wondering if we would be able to change that to generator's address. Are we able to change that, that field there?
Let me see.
Yeah, you see it doesn't show the whole thing. So it's kind of hard to...
This should be all the data that you're allowed to customize, so I don't know what we're missing.
Okay, so what we need to do on where you are right now, where it says transporter certification, we'd like to have 2 lines there just in case we needed to have 2 transporters there. Where it says transporter certification, we need 2 lines with X's there, which would be first transporter and second transporter if we had one. And also up on top there where it says service address, we were wondering if we could change that to generator's address.
Okay, I think I followed your template that you sent over pretty closely, and if you will, what I'm going to have one of my guys give you a call, load up that template for you, test printing it, and then just take some notes on it, and then you can either give them to Joe, I think is who I'm going to have call you here in a little bit, and he can get them to me, and I can knock any other changes out this weekend and have them to you by Monday.
Oh, okay. Okay, I did get Joe. He did do some setup for us, adding some other. We added 2 additional computers, and so I did talk with him earlier this week. I didn't realize that he was the one that was also doing the manifest.
Well, I'm the one who is doing the template for you. I do all of our training with our clients, so I'm right now, today, I've just got everyone's trying to squeeze in something in my schedule, and Joe's just available. I can give him the template I've done, and he can just load it onto your machine and just go through it with you and take some notes for me, give it to me, and I can make any more changes this weekend so you guys have it first of next week ready to go by Monday.
I think those were my major questions.
Okay. Nella, did you have a question or two or something I could demonstrate for you?
Yeah, I do, and it's actually really important because otherwise I'll be working all weekend. I have a question about the mapping.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way that all the people that I have on the route schedule to be able to map out and split it into 2? I'm trying to do, we just got another crew, and so I'm trying to get out, a schedule that's starting as of April 1st for 2 crews. But we, between all of us, we just seem to not be able to get a route together. and I was hoping that in some way I can map out everything that I have scheduled and just split it into 2.
Yeah.
But the other issue that I'm having, even if I'm generating it myself, is that the map program is not registering some of the addresses, even though they're correct and they're coming up on Google Maps.
And if that's the case, that's when you have to use a longitude and latitude to help MapPoint find that customer. And
Okay, see, I couldn't figure that out.
what you, easiest, simple, if it's just a couple here and there that are giving you trouble, if you go to Google and just search for iTouchMap, and the first thing that comes up, latitude and longitude of a point, you can type in a street address from, it should pull up. Here would be the latitude and longitude. You can copy and paste and just go into the customer detail right on the route schedule and put it in here, latitude and longitude.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Wow.
That'll guarantee that takes precedence over MapPoint. And I think,
Okay.
Lonnie, if you're still here, has that geocode that we did for you, is that working all right so far? I mean, you haven't noticed a lot of bad. Was anything off when we did that?
No, it's been working good.
Okay. Nellie, your other option, we did this for Lonnie before we actually made it a part of it. He was, thank you for, I don't know if you knew it or not, but you were kind of a little guinea pig for us. I appreciate it. We've now added a button, Update Customer Longitude and Latitudes. As long as your location addresses all are here are in good shape, meaning you have the full address, the city, and the zip code, there aren't any blanks, you can hit this Update Latitude Longitude. It automatically goes and checks Google, gets that number, plugs it in for the customer, and goes through your entire customer list and does that for you.
Okay. And it won't mess anything up, right?
No. The only thing that I would stress is it will maybe give you a pop-up error message like address is null if we have a blank like this, like on my customer list. So if you have a blank one, you could right-click on it, filter by selection. That will give you the list of all the ones you need to update before you hit that button.
Okay.
Just make sure that their addresses are correct in QuickBooks. Hit Update Only Customers. It'll bring it into the program. Then you can update your latitude and longitudes across the board. And I think when we did Lonnie's, it took about 35 to 40 minutes to plug through right around, I can't remember, right around 1,000 accounts or something like that. We've tried this with I pushed it to about 6,300. The database I have right now, I've geocoded before, and it took about 2 to 3 hours. It just make sure it's something you have the time for. It is going to just kind of, you really can't do much.
I don't have a choice. But the other thing that I did have a question about, for instance, we have a customer and they have multiple service addresses, and we want to schedule those, let's say, 3 service addresses under that one customer. How am I able to do that?
Great
different
question.
dates.
Great question. In QuickBooks, you do this. This customer, John Abbott, has 2 job sites or 2 service addresses. These are treated as a separate customer, but they relate to that parent company. If you highlight, let's say, any company or customer, and if they have another address, you go new customer, add a job, or what I like to call, you're basically adding a job site or another service address.
Wow, that's super.
You have a whole nother ship to field you can create. And the nice thing is these are, like I said, treated like individual customers. So in the service program, on our customer list, I could go to, in the first drop-down, here's where you can start using this first drop-down box. I could pick my customer, and then it would show me all related job sites. on the route schedule, I could then, I'm not picking John Abbott, I'm picking job site 1 for that stop, and then I'm picking job site 2 for the second one. All the billing gets tied to that parent, but it lets you to split it out into multiple service addresses.
Okay. Okay, and there's no way your program magically creates 2 routes for me?
Well, here's what you do. Once you have your latitude, longitudes in there, you've got it squared away. All you have to do is go to Route Info, go to Route Mapping, and you want to map everybody, and just you have to put in a date range, so just put in like the month of March, whatever you have set up on your schedule, and hit Map. It's now going to map your entire route. Hold on, let me point out. One second.
I have a question regarding that. So do you not have to have map point at that point then? Or do you still
You still have to have map point.
Okay.
My addresses are all over the place, but it will map everybody. And if you have a lot of stops, this is what it's going to do, day 1. And then it'll say, you know, day 2. What you do is you optimize your route. You get everything into the right order based on distance first. And then what you can do is whatever day 1 is, those are route 1. Whatever map point says day 2, that's 2. You would then just go into the service program and change the route number accordingly.
Okay.
Once you've then had it split, you then could map each route individually to get the correct order within that route. We have done this. I have recommended this to a few customers where I've actually walked them through it, where we've mapped every customer in their database. 2,000 customers, put them on MapPoint. Then it breaks it out into like 6 different days if you were just to drive it in order. Each day is a separate route for a separate tech. And then you just split it out on your route schedule that way. So now I would take maybe my first 10 stops here, that's now Route 1 for Monday. My next 10 stops are Route 1 for Tuesday. My next 10 are Route 1 for Wednesday. Go through the week. Then on day 2, that'll be Route 2, and then take the first 10 stops, that's Route 2 Monday, and just go through it like that. It really will only take you maybe 2 hours, depending on your customers, how many you have.
Alrighty, well, thank you. I'm sorry. I have to go, unfortunately. But I appreciate the help.
Anytime.
Have a good Easter weekend.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
Michael, can you show that again? What you went? Okay, route mapping, and what'd you put in?
I just put in, like on my route schedule, you would want to pick your beginning date, whatever date is the first record here, and then go to the very bottom and grab the last date, and then you can plug those in as the beginning and ending date and hit map, and it'll map everybody that is on your route schedule regardless of the route, the day, the frequency.
Okay.
Let's see. Eileen or Lonnie, or did you have another question for me? Are you guys good for right now?
I do have a couple more.
Okay.
One of them is we kind of ran out of time last week. I was hoping you could show me, I think you showed Eileen this, we're trying to get the mapping to work for tasks, and so you turned on that where it puts on a route sheet or on a route or whatever, and then we map it from there.
Correct.
And I've never seen that work, and I was a little confused as to what it does, and I didn't want to mess up the route, so I was wondering if you could show me that one.
Mm-hmm. What I can do is, let me just take everything off this schedule. when I hit route schedule, it's going to prompt me, would you like to put open tasks onto the route schedule? Simply by hitting yes, it now takes all my open tasks and puts them onto the route. Depending on who they're assigned to, if they're assigned to, all assigned to the same guy, I can then now map it just like I do with my routes. Pick Bill, pick the date, and hit map. So it maps my route for me. So now I have a good order. I've got the recommended order to do those 3 tasks. So now that I've got my order, I could hit delete tasks. So now they're off my route schedule. I don't have to worry about them cluttering up my other stops. This column right here between subassigned to and customer parent, or the customer name, this is a pretty neat little thing that actually one of our customers showed me that I didn't know it did this. Stop number 2 is Kennedy Michael, me. Or excuse me, that's stop number 1. So I can put a 1 here. Then this customer, that'd be stop number 2. And then John Abbott. So that is the best order to drive those stops. Now I could hit print for today's date, print a schedule by priority.
Okay.
And that right here, this
I guess I'm
field is the order it would print in, that 1, 2, 3.
right. So I guess I'm a little confused as to what route. I mean, we have cleaning routes already in there. Is it going to put it on? What route is it going to put it on? That's why I've been afraid to do it. I don't want to mess anything up.
If you see, it adds it to it takes the assigned to name, like Bill, and fills it in the route column. It doesn't actually create the route called Bill. It just fills data in that field. So it doesn't throw it onto an existing route. It never will do that. And it creates a frequency called task, which it creates a one-time, automatically when you do it, it creates that frequency called task. And then when you add tasks to the schedule, you have a button that now says delete tasks. So once you're done mapping, just hit delete. It'll automatically just back itself up, take all those tasks off the schedule without deleting them off the task list.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to give it a try then.
Yeah, it actually works fairly well. Another benefit is if you actually have like a Route 1 or a Route 2 that's you want to add add-ons to it, that's the main benefit is you could assign your tasks to Route 1, add your open task to the route schedule, for instance, and it would now be added onto Route 1 with a frequency of task.
Okay. So we make deliveries for the guys, for the cleaning guys. We'll make a task for delivery. We could add that and it would put it on there.
Yep. It's how you can dynamically build your route based on your call volume of your other kind of call-in services that are more one-time. You can dynamically build the route and add it onto a guy's schedule if the route name and the assigned to match up.
So would it assign it in that example if we have a customer already on their route list and we want to deliver a bucket of chlorine to them and we make a task for that, would it add it after that stop for that customer?
Let's do a weekly for Route 1 for today. So I've got a customer set up on a weekly reoccurring schedule. I would need a username of R1, so then I could maybe take this here Maybe this is a chemical delivery. Assign it to Route 1. I'm just going to get rid of my other tasks here. So now when I hit my route schedule, and yes, I've now got a add-on from task, chemical delivery, deliver chlorine.
Okay. What I mean, I think, Michael, is if I have 10 customers already on that route schedule, is it going to add Abbott next to Abbott already there, so he knows he's delivering it there? Or, I mean, it's going to put the names together, I guess, is what I mean.
No, I think it does put a stop number of 99.
Okay.
So it will be like an add-on true, but what you could do is once you've done that, just simply sort your route schedule A to Z, and if you got doubles on the same day, now make that stop 1, the same as the other customer, so they're next to each other.
Okay.
Then
Okay.
when you finish, you don't have to delete your task, but when you finish the service and you post your route, all the one-time tasks get removed.
Okay.
So does it create a separate ticket, if you will?
Yeah, you do have that separate task you can use to track as a work order.
Okay.
How would that look on the phone? Is it just like a regular route ticket? He could just fill it out?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He can either...
I'm sorry, when you're adding to that route, you're doing it under the task, but you're assigning it to R1, and that'll automatically put it in that route on that day.
Exactly. It allows him to see that extra route stop on his route schedule, and it's going to say on the route notes, from task such and such. So now he maybe knows, okay, now I need to go to my employee task list on my phone and fill out that work order for this stop.
And you can add anything, like if he's got 10 stops and I need to add 2 more, I could just go to task list, put them in, assign to R1, and then it'll go to, it'll automatic, it won't go as a task, it'll go on to the route list.
As a scheduled stop, yep.
Just by hitting R1, that differentiates between task and route.
Not necessarily R1. R1 is the name of one of my route techs that I've set up in the software. So you're just matching up, you're assigning it to one of the routes that you've set up, whatever you've labeled them.
Right. It's so the assigned to is the technician or the route?
It is both. I use R1. R1 is Route 1 driven by Michael in this instance. For the most part, we recommend using like a simple label for the route text, like R1 for Route 1 or C1 for Crew 1, and then your repair techs, your guys that do the service calls, you set up on the user list as just their name. That way it's easy to differentiate if a task is assigned to Bill, it's one of your like repair techs versus a task assigned to Route 1. It's actually going to be done on that scheduled stop for that driver who drives Route 1.
Okay.
And you would actually add that R1 into the regular user list. That way you can assign a regular task to one of the route guys. As long as those names match up, you can do this, and it works great. It's how all our rental companies create. When they go in and they do a rental, they make a delivery task. They then assign it to their route driver, and it's how they dynamically build their deliveries on a day-to-day basis through the tasks. Now they have a delivery on here from task rental delivery. But it works as a great tool to add any extra stops so your guys don't forget to do them.
Gotcha.
So, I'm sorry, Michael, one more thing you just had me thinking of. If we're using this to do both, I like this idea of having the deliveries that the cleaning guys are doing put on there. But if we're using it for both to map out our repair guy, and we hit that, delete tasks, it's gonna, or I guess do I change the frequency so it doesn't delete that?
If you want, you could, you could, once you add the tasks to the route schedule, you could create a frequency called delivery that's also a one-time. We would just create maybe a delivery here. Length of days 0, delete after posting route. And then the ones that are the chemical delivery, you would just flip to delivery.
So I remember that from the routing and mapping class that when you there's a field where you can put a note that's always there for your guy when he opens up his phone, and it may say make sure gate is closed.
Yep.
But there's no field that you could put for a one-time note. This week, make sure you do such and such. This would be a good thing that we could put there as that one-time note to make sure they do something, right?
Yeah, you could create that task as a one-time note. They'd see that as a separate or an add-on and know to go check their task list for that extra work that week. Exactly.
Now, when you say check their task list, is what we're talking about here, we're adding a task to their route schedule, or is it all on their route schedule, or do they have to check a task list also?
Well, it's up to you, however you want to create the procedure for them. You can even just have those right away when you add the task to the route schedule, all the notes from the task description are put in the route notes field for that one-time stop. So they have all the information right there in front of them.
Right, okay.
It's just if you want them, you could just tell them, hey, when you see that, an add-on stop that says from task list, that you guys have to go to the task list and complete the physical task.
Okay.
However you want to make the procedure.
Right, okay.
I like that. I did not look at it that way, and the benefit of these classes is I get some good information and good feedback from you guys.
Hey, Michael, another thing about that is, I'm just thinking of our circumstance, can we make one of these delivery tasks, can we assign it to a route, individually one at a time as we make them? Or do you still have to use that button?
You still have to use that button right now. It's the only way we have a way to get a task onto the route schedule.
Okay.
Now you can always just go to the bottom of your route schedule, select delivery, and fill out the information and just add a one-time route stop yourself. You don't have to do it through a task.
Okay, yeah, right. Okay.
Oh, that's probably the best way to add a note for the guy, is to make it a one-time route stop, and just, if it's for Smith, they have their regular route stop for Smith, and then they have another route stop for Smith that has a description of what they do that one week, and it's a one-timer.
Yeah, like you could do, like if I have 2 stops on my schedule here for the same day, and I could just go, okay, I need to add a note to Dr. Abbott here. So I could filter, and it'll only show me his one stop on the schedule. Then I could quickly, that way I don't have to scroll all the way to the bottom, I could quickly just add in a, whatever that is, one-time type. And that took all of 20 seconds. A little easier than creating a
Yeah.
task and going through that whole
It's like-
process.
That.
And I would maybe just create a frequency called, you know, note, length of day 0, delete after posting route. That way you have a separate, am I blind or? There it is. You'd have a separate note, that way you could filter and say, show me all the notes for today type situation. We are getting to about 10 minutes left, so I don't know if anyone has any other quick questions.
I just have one more, maybe quick.
Okay.
I made a quote this morning, and I was looking at it, and it made me think, can we put our logo on a quote?
Of course. If you go to the estimate, to estimate list, enter a new estimate, if you use this quote version 1, you have the option to display logo when you print. The logo appears right in the top center. What you need to do is in your service program folder, and I don't think I have it here, there's going to be a logo dot, I think it's, yeah, it'll be just like this. It'll say logo.jpg. If you replace that file with your company logo and keep the name the same, it'll print out on top of that.
Okay, thanks.
When your guy was doing the thing the other day, I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but on the in my schedule view, I schedule from the schedule view so that I can look at the calendar and see where somebody fits. It would be nice if you guys could change, like if I pick 8 o'clock for a certain tech on a certain day and I click on the 8 o'clock, that it automatically fills those fields in the task detail. But, I mean, that would be nice. But what I get is, so I've been making appointments, but since the other day, my task list, there's about 10 things on my task list, whereas before I had 50. Now they're all on the schedule view, but they're not, my task list is not populated like it was.
Your task list by default is going to go to a 14-day window, so if they're scheduled more than 2 weeks away, you won't see them.
Yeah, but I got it, I have it at, maybe when your guy was doing it, I had it at 180 days.
If you
I thought I,
put your cursor in there, type 180 again, and hit tab.
oh, okay. Days out, well, yeah, it says days out, 180.
Go ahead and just click in there, clear it out, type 180 again, and press tab.
Press tab.
Yeah, just hit.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, we might have,
All right.
whatever we were doing, we might have reset that. There's also a option, and this may not be set on your machine. If you go into System, Control Table Maintenance, under the Task tab, there's an option for Task Refresh Interval. I would set that to none.
Task refresh.
Yeah, if you look at my screen, it's in the very bottom right.
Yeah, it's at none. Okay.
Make sure it's at none. That may be refreshing that task list and kicking out that setting every time. Or it may have been something we did when we did the mobile install. And I apologize if we did that.
Is there any way for you guys to add a thing so that when you click on the calendar, it automatically populates those fields when you go to the task detail?
You're, trust me, not the first to bring that to our attention. We've tried to address it numerous times. We're kind of limited to the way it's coded. We are trying to figure out how we can do that, and I didn't think it was that complicated when we had a couple of prior requests, but according to our developers, that is something that they are struggling with doing. Yes, trust me, we see the logic. It needs to, if you double click on Lee at 3 a.m., it should fill out Lee in 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. or whatever the time is.
Now, here's another one. How do I make a task that's going to be multi-day? I know we're going to be there every day this week. Now, what I did was I created a new task for every day, but isn't there a simpler way?
What I would simply do is, if you're going to be there every day this week, to me that would mean the task needs to be done by Friday. The due date is Friday. The date created is obviously maybe Monday. You can track that time length. It doesn't display on the calendar as a multi-day event, though. The only way to get a calendar multi-day event to show up is by just clicking duplicate task. And when you are in that duplicated task, just set the due date real quick one day, close.
So then you're essentially making a different task for every day.
Correct. There's no other better way around that.
Okay.
Now, I would like to add one piece to that. This is just putting my positive spin on something that's a little bit of a workaround. You could break out or segment that job based on if you have different techs working on those different days at that different job site. You can now track the individual techs because you have a task for each day.
Right. Okay. You know, sometimes when I'm on that list, and if I'm on the list and I want to bring up a task, is hitting the task number the best way to bring up that task?
Like to double click, yeah, that's the only way to open up a task. The only way to open it up from this list is to double click the task number that's blue and underlined.
Well, the other day when I was doing it, it seemed that when I was doing that, it was creating a task on its own in the today, as I was creating one in the future, and I didn't know if I was doing something wrong or not.
No, it shouldn't be. The only way to create a new task is to do it through task entry or double click on the schedule view.
Yeah, okay. They were doing something like I had the days, I had task numbers, but then I also had blank ones that didn't have a task number.
Oh, like right here?
They were popping up.
If you look at my screen, I've got a reoccurring task set up with no task number.
Right.
Your reoccurring tasks do not get a task number until you open them up for the first time. Then it gets its own unique number.
Oh. Well, maybe something like that was going on then.
Yep.
When do they assign a number again?
Whenever, like this reoccurring task here, is set every 30 days. Whenever it gets within 14 days of the current date, it'll start showing up on your task list as green. And then whenever you open that up for the first time, that's when it gets that unique number.
Okay.
So if you then go to schedule it or you then go to print it, whenever you open that up, it will then give it that task number.
Okay.
And that allows each unique, even though this is a reoccurring task where it's the same one over and over and over again, you still get a unique task number for each individual one as you open them up.
Hey, Michael.
Yes, sir.
One of the issues we've had, I've told you I really like that schedule view, and one of the problems we've come across is if someone has set a specific time for an appointment and I'm in that schedule view, I can move things around without realizing that. Is there anything to do for that?
No, sir. If we want to keep it drag and drop, it has to stay the way it is. And I would just make it that if it's not a scheduled time, make sure that they are not just leaving it at like 8, 9 in the morning. Put it on some obscure hour that you would know that that's not supposed to be a set time, or create your create a username called unassigned. Anything not scheduled, pile it on that day under that username. That way anything tied to a username is scheduled, and that's the time it's supposed to be, and you know not to change it.
Okay. We were wondering if there's any way, like for priority, if if we went to move a priority 1 task or something, and it had a little pop-up saying you were moving to priority 1, then we could look and see why.
Yeah, we have very limited control of what we can do with the calendar, just because it is the functionality that we want to maintain with the calendar. If we go in and start changing too much, it's going to cause problems throughout the whole system, because everything's kind of tied into the schedule view.
Hey, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
my idea
Okay.
to that was, because you got to put a time on everything, and some people you need time and most people you don't. And we were just going to add, that first line when you do the task description is we put the town so we can see where the people are, and then right after the town, we would put the time. And if there's a time there, that means that's when you got to be there that day. That's just what we did in our office.
So let me
Okay, that's a good idea, and that shows up on the calendar when you look at the task then too.
Right.
see, Bill. So right here on the first line of the description, you would put like,
We put the town where the person lives so that we can schedule easy by looking at the schedule view. Yep, so we put Vero Beach, and then, if it's if they requested a certain time, that's where we put the time so that it shows up. And, the other times we kind of just use like a 1-hour slot to keep the schedule going. And, but at least that way, in those we also took this and we redid the calendar so that 1 hour really shows up in a nice big chunk, and you can see the lines underneath. Yeah, what I did, I shortened my day from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and got rid of all those useless hours. And then there you go. So now that's like 3 hours to make it look like that. But if you get rid of anything before 8 a.m. and anything after 6 p.m. in this panel here, it makes those chunks look nice and big.
let's see, 8 a.m. Oh, man.
Yeah. And now you could even shorten that up to, just a 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, and now it shows up there.
Thank you, Keith. That I did not know you could do. I always saw that there. I've never, All right, maybe we can, maybe we can put some automation behind that if that actually is a good time. When you go to create a task, we maybe could default some of this verbiage to just kind of populate like that. Put the start time and end time there. That way you could see it if it is scheduled. I'll see if we can get our developers maybe to see if we can help make that a little bit more, maybe of an easier process. But thank you. That's a great suggestion. Okay. We have just hit our hour mark. I am going to have to run here so I can stay on schedule. Keith, are you available in about 10 minutes or so?
Yep, I'm good.
Perfect. All right, let me just check in with my guys here. I'm get something to drink, and then I'll give you a call, and we'll try to get your mobile install rocking.
All right, thanks.
Don't forget to email me that app, Michael, and thank you for today.
Oh, no problem. I'm going to email you and Keith right now with that app.
And you're going to,
Thank you.
are you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, so you're going to have someone contact me today or Monday?
I'm going to check right now and see everyone's schedule and see who's available. And if I don't have anyone available right now, I will call you myself before I get on the phone with that gentleman, Keith, and let you know. We'll set up a time for Monday.
Oh, okay. Now, were you calling him back about the logo?
Who? The Keith, we had a scheduled appointment to finish up his mobile install.
Oh, mobile. Okay, because the logo is something I can do myself, correct? From what you showed us.
From the quote?
No, I can add my logo onto, I guess, our manifest.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It'll just be a Word document, so you can, whatever we give you, it'll be a Word template, and you can just change whatever I've done. You can change the colors or move anything around or put your logo on it.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, I don't want to hold you up. Okay, so somebody's going to call me back shortly. Okay.
Yes, it'll
Thank
either
you.
be, no problem, it'll either be Joe, and he can get everything loaded up, or I'll let you know that we need to schedule something on Monday.
All right, thank you.
All right,
I'm going to
no
wait
problem.
for your call before I leave. All right, thanks. Bye.
All right, bye.